Make your day richer than it was before. Got some good times knocking upon your front door.
Welcome, everyone, to Make Your Day Richer. Jay, they cannot stop clapping for you. There they go. Good morning. How's it going?
Going very well. How's things there in the studio?
So good. I can have no complaints. You opened a play last weekend at the Flowertown Players Theater. How did it go?
It went pretty well. And we were nervous. We put on a play. I think we've had 6 weeks of rehearsals before we got going, so it was fun to actually get it up before a crowd and see how they reacted to it.
Yeah, and it's Arsenic and Old Lace. Can you tell everybody about the play and who you play in it?
So Arsenic and Old Lace, the main characters are basically two little old ladies who live in a house in Brooklyn in the 1940s. And they have a curious habit of basically they like to put lonely old men out of their misery, shall we say? And they believe they're doing it as a charity. They're very sweet little old ladies otherwise. They have 3 nephews. So there's one that lives with them. His name is Teddy, and he's a little bit off. He actually believes that he is President Theodore Roosevelt. Oh. There's another brother or another nephew that lives in the city. His name is Mortimer, and he writes, he's a theater critic for a New York newspaper. And then there's a third nephew who no one really talks about. He ran away some years ago. He's described as a type of person who likes to cut worms in half with his teeth. Okay. His name is Jonathan, and that's who I play.
Wow. How did you fall in love with acting? I know you've been in movies, you do theater. Like, when did that love come about?
It's something that I've always been interested in. It's like a lot of people, I never knew anybody who was an actor, so I didn't have a lot of access to it, and it didn't, feel like something that was attainable. And then about 5 years ago is actually when I first started getting into acting, just 5 years ago. I'd been in radio for 20 years. The radio station I was at here in Charleston, South Carolina, actually changed formats. It wasn't something I was really interested in doing anymore, but Charleston or radio rather is a non-compete industry. So if you want to stay in the same town, you got to basically not have a job in radio for so many months. And I started working, actually doing background. I was an extra. We had a couple of shows happening here. Outer Banks was the first show I was ever on. It was season 1, episode 1 of Outer Banks, the Netflix show. I went on that just as an extra, fell in love with the whole process of it, and just started thinking, well, maybe this is actually something I could do. Started doing acting classes, seminars, all sorts of things, especially even during the pandemic. I watched every free video, free seminar, free Zoom call I could get on, and just started studying and really learning how to be an actor on camera, not just on mic like I had been with radio.
Is that your advice to people that are maybe, wanting to, don't know how to get into acting, don't know what to do first? It's just like, get as much information as possible and get out there?
Get as much information as possible, and there's so much free information. I am a proud graduate of the University of YouTube, and I definitely recommend that. Also, go be an extra and see the process of it's 12, 17-hour days where you work for 15 minutes during that time. See how the process works. A lot of people have done that, and they're like, I made it half a day and I left. And I was like, I can't work in this environment. For me, I thought it was great. I got to hang out and meet new people. I got to see people working at the highest level of their individual specialty, and I really loved that. But then once you decide it is something you want to pursue, absolutely training, find classes, find videos. There's so many resources out there.
Like you were saying, you've been in radio for so long. What do you kind of love about the difference between the two and being able to kind of go back and forth?
In radio, it's all on me. And I love parts of that. You know, every whatever comes out of the speakers, that's because I made that happen. And working on camera, especially, all I have to worry about is just my little niche, my little part of it. So much of it is not my responsibility. And not only that, the people, like I said, I've worked on some big projects in Atlanta and here in Charleston. And when you see so many different departments, so many different people of all sorts of types, races, whatever, doing each of their individual things to try to make the overall project as good as it can be, it's to me, it's the greatest work environment I've ever been in. And
Mm.
I mean, I can't get enough of that for sure.
And then you go into theater, which is completely different than movies, completely different than radio. What do you love about theater? Because there's such a community, I think, in theater and in general, but also community theater.
I was hesitant for a long time to get into theater. It was one of those things because it's such a time commitment. I mean,
Mhm.
4 or 5 nights a week for 6 weeks doing rehearsals, and then we've got 3 weeks of actual performances on top of that, so it's a huge time commitment. But in that time, something that's different from on camera, when you show up to do something on camera, especially my level, I'm typically doing just a couple of lines. I walk up, say hello, and we're going, and a few minutes later it's over and it's done. Versus with stage acting, you really get the time to not only develop the character but try completely different things. With Arsenic and Old Lace, which is actually only my second stage play, um I've tried different accents, trying, okay, what if I come from this way? What if I have this thought? And trying so many different angles to really hone in on exactly what you want your character to be. And you so often don't get that with on-camera jobs.
Yeah, yeah. And then you have that instant gratification, right? Like that they're they're right there and they're going to tell you whether they think you're good or not. And whether they're having fun. When did you get into radio? Did you like fall in love with someone on the radio and want to do that, or how'd that happen?
So with radio, it's kind of not dissimilar to my story with getting into to acting. I was always a fan of radio. We had a great radio station here in Charleston when I was growing up. I'm originally from Toledo, Ohio. I loved listening to the radio there. I love music. I can't play any music, read any. People who can perform music to me are magicians.
Yeah.
So I've always loved that format. I actually straight out of high school went into the Army, and I'm not much of a follower type person. So I decided very quickly, I was like, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life, but this isn't it. I'll do this for a couple of years. And actually, right out of being in the Army for 4 years, I went to a school to learn audio engineering. So working in recording
Mm.
studios with artists. And I did that for a little while in North Carolina, came back here to South Carolina where there weren't any recording studios. The next closest thing I figured was radio. So I just sort of slipped into radio that way. I worked at a talk radio station. I had never listened to talk radio in my life. I just went in and lied and told them how much I love talk radio. And then realized what a creative outlet it could be, radio in general. And just kept failing upwards from there, basically moving to different markets, different radio stations, different formats.
And you're on 10 to 2 every weekday on 95.9?
Mix 95.9 here in Charleston. That's correct.
That's a lot of work every day, 2 hours of you. How, well, like people, I don't think people realize like what goes into putting that on, right? I mean, even going into a 15-minute interview like I do, like there's so much that goes into it. Can you talk a little bit about that, about what you're doing during those 2 hours and why people should be tuning in?
For me, I'm kind of a trivia guy and information guy. I like to know the little ins and outs. So it's definitely something I focus on with artists, things that they're doing, things they're talking about, things they're posting on social media. And also we like to stay as local as possible. We're one of the few radio stations in Charleston, let alone the country anymore, where we actually have our DJs are live in Charleston, sitting in a studio right now in the same town as the people that are listening to them. And so we can talk about events that are going on, things that we've gone to, local news that's happening, things like that. So it's definitely a big focus.
Yeah, that's great. People need that local, the actual local talent and news like that. Let's go back to the play for a minute because it
Mhm.
closes on November 3rd. So people should be getting
Right.
their tickets, and you can go to flowertownplayers.org for your tickets. Is it .com or .org?
.org. Nope, you got it right.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Tell everybody why they should be going to see live theater and community theater.
Live theater is a completely different experience. The last play I did, which I said was the first play I'd done, I had some people, some friends that I invited to come to it that said, I've never been to theater before. I didn't know what to expect. And it's like going to see a movie as far as the community part of that taken to a whole nother level, because you're really experiencing something live. And unlike with going to a movies or watching a TV show, it's really is live, and things are a little bit different every night. Things can go wrong, and then you get to see how people try to fix those things or deal with those things, whether they drop a prop, somebody forgets a line. So that's definitely a lot of fun. This show in particular, it's often put on stage around Halloween time because it is sort of a dark comedy. There's death, there's sort of a true crime element to it as well. And it's a lot of fun. And when you are sitting there with other people and laughing at the same thing and experiencing the same thing at the same time, it's built into humans. It's what makes us human, to be able to experience those things in a community nature like that.
Yeah, it's like going to a concert, but a little quieter, you know?
A little quieter. I don't
A little
know.
bit.
Teddy,
Depending on the play, I suppose,
our character
or the
Teddy
concert.
gets very loud, so I will warn you about that. But it's it's a whole lot of fun. It's interesting to see because this play was written in the early 1940s, and so much of the comedy still lands, is still funny. And then if you are a history buff, there are a couple of references that nobody else will get, that you will get, that then you can explain to everybody else. So I think that's always fun as well.
That's cool. What do you love most about your life right now?
About my life right now,
Yeah.
the fact that I get to work in a creative capacity is absolutely
Mhm.
hugely important to me. There's been times when I left radio and went to other jobs, as doing tech support for cell phones and things like that, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't filling that bucket, that part of me of being able to be creative. And the fact that every day I know that whether I'm going to a radio station, whether I'm going to a film set, whether I'm going to the play, that I know that I will get that creative outlet, and it's like oxygen for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell the people that all the time, like, any way you can make art, create art, ingest art, like, your life is going to be so much better. And if you get to
And, well,
do
and I
it,
don't even just say art, because I actually do a lot of woodworking as well, and being able to create things that way, it can be very practical. You don't think of it as art, I'm building a table or a chair, but creating in any shape or
yeah,
form is hugely important.
I think that's art because such an art form. Whether it's dance, whether it's theater, any of that, any of the creative outlets. What is the best way that people can connect with you?
Well, you can find me on social media, Jay Shadix on air, on Instagram, on Facebook, wherever you can consume your social media. Also on YouTube, you can watch some of my video clips up there, and of course, you can listen every weekday from 10 to 2 on Mix 95.9. You can live stream through your computer. You can also download the Mix 95.9 app and listen that way as well.
And then also, obviously, go see Arsenic and Old Lace at Flowertown Players. And I said it was 10 to 12, but you're there 10 to 2.
10 to 2,
10 to
yes.
2. Oh my God, I'm tired for you. Go take a nap, please. Now, one last question. In your best radio voice, can you throw us to commercial?
Throw us to commercial. Okay, give me some details.
We're gonna come back. We've got more. Your segment's done. We've got more after the break.
Stick around. There's more still to come right after this break.
Tired of harsh chemicals in your home? Let's change that. At EcoGlow Cleaning, we bring eco-friendly expertise right to your doorstep. We will make your day richer by bringing a glow to your home or office. For over 20 years, EcoGlow Cleaning has been the trusted choice for professional cleaning services in the Charlotte area. From deep cleaning to regular maintenance, EcoGlow Cleaning offers a wide range of services. All services are tailored to your needs and schedule. Our eco-friendly products ensure a healthy and safe environment for you and your family, including your pets. For a free quote, visit our website at www.ecoglowcleaning.com or give us a call at 704-777-9768. EcoGlow Cleaning is a proud sponsor of Make Your Day Richer TV.
Are you an independent creative looking to take your career to the next level? Whether you're an author, illustrator, or thinking about getting into this industry, it's time to step into the spotlight at the INKpreneurs Summit 2024. This November 1st and 2nd in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, we're bringing together the best minds in the publishing industry for 2 days of unparalleled learning and intimate networking. From hands-on workshops with industry experts to interactive networking mixers, you'll get the tools, connections, and insights to turn your creativity into a thriving business. And that's not all. Our Fresh Ink Pavilion is the place for new and emerging authors to showcase and sell their books, right in front of passionate readers and industry pros who are ready to support your journey. Plus, meet our incredible lineup of speakers sharing your secrets to success in publishing and beyond. Don't miss out. Secure your spot today and get ready to elevate your creative career. Visit INKpreneursummit.com to register. Let's give your creativity the success it deserves. See you in Winston-Salem.
I will be at the INKpreneur Summit. That is a week from tomorrow. So make sure you go to INKpreneursSummit.com to get your tickets. It's going to be a really, really fun Friday and Saturday starting next week. All right. Hey, 58,000 views today. 58,000 views and downloads of this program so far. Thank you to everybody who supports the show, who watches, who shares, who likes. All the names at the end of this show of people who have supported this show in so many different ways. I thank you so much because we get to talk to cool people like Jay. Tomorrow we have the director of Arsenic and Old Lace on the show. So you'll get to learn more about that. All right. Outside of this show, I also produce and edit other shows. There's a new episode of the Autoimmune Campfire, which is an amazing, amazing podcast that started a few weeks ago that I'm lucky enough to work on. It's available on Substack. It's available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And here is a clip.
I can wake up in the morning and go, oh, good. I've got X amount of units of energy or spoons, however you want to put it. And I think we'll describe that in a little bit. But for those of you like me who hadn't heard that concept outside of coaching, I might be good in the morning and by the afternoon, I'm completely depleted, or I might feel depleted in the morning and by the afternoon I can walk 3 miles. So it's also a moment to moment shift in that, I think the hardest thing for me as an extrovert is when people would say, hey, do you want to come to this? And I'm like, yes, I want to come to this. And then not knowing if I'd ever be able to make the party, the dinner, the walk, the whatever it is. Because I didn't know what my energy would be that day or whether I'd actually be able to do it. Or wait, can I go? But can I go for 2 hours? And that's what I tend to do now. I'll go to something for a portion of time.
Oh, it's such a good podcast. If you have an autoimmune condition, if you know someone who does, it really gives you a great perspective on autoimmune diseases, conditions. It's so good. You should check it out. Last night, I was asked to help with a live stream here in this area in Indian land. There's a bond going up on the ballot, and there are a lot of people on both sides, yes or no to the ballot. And so they were having a forum to talk about it. And I was asked to help with the live stream portion. So in all honesty, showing up, not really knowing much about it. But that's also why I said yes to it, because I wanted to learn. And let me tell you, it was almost an hour and 45 minutes of a discussion, and 600 people were watching on a Facebook group. And it was really interesting to see just the questions and concerns from both sides and the reasons why people were for it and against it. And it also made me really realize I would never want to get into politics, because some of the comments on the live stream were pretty crazy. So I'm glad I just had a nonpartisan. I was just there for a job. Anyway, so go check that out if you are in the area and have questions or concerns or are in support of the bond. All right, everyone, that's the show for today. I love you. Go make your day richer. Go make someone else's day richer. You've made mine by watching this show, and I can't thank you enough. And we'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Bye.